Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining the session. And I am Shakeel Ahmed from Deanship of E-Learning and IIT. And today I'm going to discuss about micro teaching. The reason behind to choose this topic that the art of teaching does not just involve a simple transfer of knowledge from one to another. Instead, it is a complex process that facilitates and influences the process of learning. Here we can have a question, how to estimate the quality of a teacher or quality of a teaching? My simple answer could be quality of a teacher is estimated on how much the student understands from his or her teaching. We do believe that the classroom cannot be used as a learning platform for acquiring primary teaching skills. So we use micro teaching techniques to understand that how you can improve your teaching skills. Micro teaching is a product of research at Stanford University. It was first adopted in 1961 by Allen and his co-workers. According to McKnight in 1980, a micro teaching has been defined as a scaled down realistic classroom training contest in which teachers can be experienced or inexperienced, may acquire a new teaching skills and refine their old teaching skills as well. It implies micro element that systematically attempts to simplify the complexities of the teaching process. Normally, we can say micro-teaching is a teacher training technique which is currently practiced worldwide, and it can provide teachers an opportunity to perk up their teaching skills by improving the various simple tasks called teaching skills. Micro-teaching is a teacher's training and faculty development technique where actually the teacher reviews a recording or in person of a teaching session in order to get constructive feedback from the colleagues or from the students about what has worked and what improvement can be made to their teaching techniques. With the proven success among the beginners and seniors, micro teaching helps to promote real-time teaching experience. The core skill of micro teaching, such as presentation and reinforcement skills, help the trainee teachers to learn the art of teaching at ease and to maximum extent. The impact of this technique has been widely seen in various forms of education. Now the question comes in our mind, why micro teaching? Actually, micro teaching is one of the recent innovations in the field of educational technology. It offers a new model for improving teaching. It has been found to be effective modern strategy for modification of classroom behavior of teacher. There has been a growing concern among educational thinkers for reshaping teacher education programs so as to make it more effective, meaningful, and scientific. In teachers education program, the courses are divided into two parts, theoretically and practice teaching courses. But nowadays, we can see and we can find that there is no consensus regarding the procedures followed in various aspects of student teaching and assessment of teacher behavior. In many cases, trainee teachers do not see the exact relationship between the content of the courses and actual teaching in the classroom. There is no organized form of feedback regarding the performance of the teachers in the classroom. So due attention in not paid to various aspects of practical lesson, starting from planning to evaluation, either by trainee teachers or by teachers, educators. So the suggestion offered by the teacher educator programs are mostly subjective and based on journal impressions. So these all are the reason behind that why we have to go for the micro teaching and what benefits we can take it. We have a long list of benefits which we can take by using the micro teaching. The defects are not actually pinpointed. Some other effective techniques or approach should be adopted for developing various teaching skills among teachers. In this context, micro teaching comes as a remedy to solve the above problem. So let's take a start at how we can have the solution by using the micro techniques, micro teaching techniques. Here we have some micro teaching features. It starts with micro elements. Number two, teaching skills and teaching strategies. And what are the teaching strategies? It could be pre-instructional skill, instructional skill, and post-instructional skill. And in the end, that is the feedback element. What is micro elements? We have to consider that one, that micro teaching reduces to complexities of the teaching situation in terms of students, duration of the lesson, and subject matter to the taught, so as to enable the trainee to concentrate on the training process. Training is also given in the mastery of only one skill at a time. This is the one best benefit for the micro teaching, that you have to focus on the one skill at a time. One should master the components of a task of teaching before the attempts to perform effectively, yani the complicated task of the teaching at macro level. You have to break it down on the macro level to prepare yourself and you can implement inside the classroom. The second one is teaching skill and teaching strategies. As you know, various researchers have listed a wide variety of skills which are representative of the tasks, procedures, and strategies involved in the teaching many subjects at different levels. The range of skills which have been taught of under the task of teaching may be classified under three heads or three subsections. First one is pre-instructional skill. This skill involves writing of instructional objectives, sequencing and organizing knowledge to be presented in order to achieve specific objectives, appropriate content, proper organization, selection of proper audiovisual aids, etc. All these includes in this skill. Instructional skills mean like skill of introducing a lesson, because that is also very important, that skills of explaining and illustrating, reinforcement, probing questions, reinforcing students' participation, and diagnosing students' difficulties, etc. I mean, like all these belongs to instructional skills, that how you can prepare your lesson and introduce your lesson. The next one is post skills, post instructional skills. In the present, you can say that this skill of writing the test items, interpreting students' performance in a test, planning remedial measures, so you can have a lot of plannings even after delivering the lecture, and how you can bring out the remedies by using post-instructional skills. The last one is the feedback element. I would like to add over here that we always aim to bring some inspirational topics which can help the teachers to groom their skills. So this kind of presentations is not just like theoretically. I always try to bring out some visual effects and video and audio type effects with that one, which can give you more good idea that and more good understanding. So using this teaching techniques, we already bring some videos and some audio skills in this presentation as well. So you will enjoy and understand in coming slides. The feedback element is in the present system of accessing the teaching competency of the trainees, and feedback is given by the supervisor. In micro teaching, several reliable and authentic sources can be employed for providing necessary feedback. As everyone understand, being a teacher, that feedback is really very important to understand that you are on the right track or you need to upgrade yourself. Oral feedback by the supervising teacher. In micro teaching, you can get oral feedback. Anyone who is supervising or who is in your group, or you can do observation schedules filled in by the student group participating in the micro lessons, or you can have audio tape recording. That is also a source of accurate feedback. You have to record your audios and you can listen them later on and you can get the idea. But the most powerful tool is that is video tape recording. And videotape recording provides the most accurate and powerful source of feedback. Here I have one example which it's very interesting example. I was in Dubai and I was there to attend one of the conference, and I met one guy over there, and that guy was Syrian guy, and I heard about him that he is one of the best guy in the sales department. People told me and that whenever our company yani lose the contract anywhere and we have no chance to get that contract, we send this guy to get it. And whenever and whatever the meeting he attended, he returned back with successful achievement of that project. When I got a chance to, and he was nowadays head of like one of the company over there, I got chance to meet him at that time and I asked him only one question. So tell me, what is the reason behind your success? You know what he answered me? He told me, I was not like this much of like competent the day one. Only thing which make me expert in this way to deal with the human psychology, I did a proper planning and practice. He told me that day one when I started doing, because I was like, I like to do some sales kind of things and I want to communicate with the people. What I did, I put some some cloths and some a few things in front of me, and I put one camera in front of me and I start speaking in front of these items. And I start thinking that in front of me there are a huge audience stay over there. He said that that was the first day, and when I have seen my video later on, it was pathetic. It was really pathetic, and even I feel myself like that, what is this, I cannot do it. But I didn't stop myself. I start doing practicing, and after that I put some of my friends in front of me and they are sitting and I start communicating with them, and then I increase that stand to my family members. And then he told me that I learn by recording myself, that where I am doing some mistakes. So the last line, that last point that I discussed, that videotape recording provides the most accurate and powerful source of feedback. If you wanted to be a good teacher, or if you want to be an impressive person and you want to leave the impact on the audience, you have to go with the practice. Practice makes a man perfect. This is not like just a sentence, it have the worth. So you can go by recording yourself, and I have seen many people, they're afraid to face the camera. Believe me, if you start facing the camera and your anxiety like over from the camera, it means the skills are coming in front of you. it might possible. I'm not going to say that you can do it in day one, but it will take time. But this is one of the best remedy for your anxiety to face the camera. Now I have one video with you. I'm going to share with you that will give you an overview of micro teaching and more like understanding about micro teaching. It's a technique aiming to prepare teacher candidates to the real classroom. I would like to add here one thing, that micro teaching, I mean, as we discussed on the earlier slide, that a teacher cannot learn or understand the teaching techniques inside the real classroom. You have to prepare yourself before going to the classroom. So micro teaching can enable you by preparing the small groups to prepare your teaching techniques, how to plan the lesson, how to deliver the lesson, and how much time is enough to deliver, and then feedback, and then replan, and then you have to deliver it again. So that's all related to micro teaching. Micro teaching is a scaled down teaching encounter in class size and class time. This is really interesting. You have to focus on that one, that word methodology you have to follow to practice micro teaching. In the first phase, you have to go as a teacher teaches a small topic. Keep in your mind, you're not going to be with the long topics for 1 hour or 2 hour. You have to start with the 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And with a very small, less number of people, that could be 6 to 10 people. It could be students, it can be your colleagues or supervisor, whatever the group you want, you can prepare over there. This is what, like 6 to 10 students, maximum 5 to 15 minutes. You have to prepare the class, not a very long class that can make the disturbance over there, and very less number of groups, which I discussed, that 6 to 10 students, and these groups can be your colleagues or your supervisors. And this is also very important, that what is the role of the colleagues and supervisor. A supervisor and colleagues not only going to have you to criticize you that you are doing this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, but their actual reason to sit over there to give you the proper and honest feedback to the teacher after the presentation, and teacher uses this feedback, analyze the strength in the point of view of the feedback, and he can replan and reteach again. Another good thing about micro teaching, you have to keep in your mind that one skill at one time. You're not going to focus on many things at the same time. Otherwise, you will not be able to improve your skills. Small scale content. Don't go with the large scale as we discussed earlier. And then the main thing is that is practice. Practice. We have focused a lot of focus on practice. So after doing a lot of practice, you can have instantaneous feedback that can help you. Self-evaluation opportunity by using this is the principle of micro teaching, that you can go with the one skill at a time, small scale content, then you can practice, then feedback, and in this, and then you can analyze self-evaluation opportunity by in the view of that feedback. So a demonstration is also, this is also part of micro teaching. The demonstration is the second step in the process. Expert demonstrate the specific skill, and you have to watch them. You can watch the videos or you can watch them live, and then you can implement that one. And then you can plan the lesson, and then the time is number 4, conducting the lesson. Teacher conduct his lesson after planning and discussion and conclusion. In the end, the last one is discussion and conclusion. Is the best way to reinforce the look, really important thing is here. Sorry, wait a moment. Oh, I want to stop it. That is. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a moment. Actually, I wanted to discuss one thing with you. What is this? What is going on? I'm sorry, guys. Keep the focus on the video. Might be I will ask you some questions by end of this video. Okay, this slide is really important for me to discuss with you that, you plan your lesson, then you conduct your lesson, and then you took the feedback. And after analyzing your feedback, you have to go again by replanning, retouching, reteaching, and rediscussion and redoing. You have to apply the same technique again and again until you become the successful or expert teacher. So this is really important that you need to focus and you never get bored. So all the things you need to carry in your mind that first you have to plan, then you have to conduct the lesson, then you have to take the feedback, and then you can go with the replanning, reteaching, rediscussion, and redoing. There are three phases normally: plan, deliver, and replan and redeliver. So what are the advantages of micro teaching? The most, I believe the biggest advantage is that practice. It giving you the chance to practice in front of small group of members, 5 to 10 people, and in less time, 5 to 15 minutes, you are spending and you are getting the confidence booster. It will boost your confidence and budget oriented. The reason behind, you do not need to go for the big courses. You can apply all the techniques, teaching techniques in the small groups with the colleagues, and more learning. A lot of things improve. It can improve your attitude for sure, that if you're more confident, your attitude is more positive, and your body language speaks a lot at that time in front of the students, that you know better than the normal teacher. So here is a type of micro teaching skills we will discuss in coming slides in detail: skills of introduction, skills of explaining, skills of questioning, skills of demonstration, reinforcement, closure, and stimulate variations, and blackboard. So that was in the form of video, that what is micro teaching. I have only 3 minutes, and I gonna switch on the I gonna give you the one question, and you may answer me in the chat, please. In the end, we will take some questions, and I will give you an access for the audio questions. But right now, I'm going to ask you the questions, that by watching this video, what was your opinion? What did you get an idea about micro teaching? Can you answer me in the chat, please? You have 2 minutes. Please write your answer in the chat box. I hope everyone listening me. No answer yet. Thank you very much for your answer, Dr. Hamza, Dr. Atika. Right. A form of practice for the teacher. Great. To learn new teaching skills. No problem. No problem. We have had a lot of things to discuss. No worry at all. Sabdali. No problem at all. Tell me one more thing that we have discussed about how you can plan and deliver. How many phases of the micro teaching? Can someone tell me how many phases we have discussed in this video? Great. How many phases we have discussed? Great. Guess a little more. It's not three, it's not four. Can someone count it? Which one was that? Planning, lesson planning, conducting, feedback, like this. And what else? After lesson planning, we have to conduct, and then we have to go for the feedback. And what we have to do after the feedback? Just tell me three or four things after that. You as a teacher, you deliver and you took the feedback. Great, 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 great. What else? Great. Next. Very nice. Next. Replan, redeliver, retake the feedback, and redo then practice. I mean, this is what that is important for the micro teaching. We are going to start there. Thanks for your time and your participation. We're going to take start that skills of micro teaching, because this topic is really a depth, a lot of depth in this topic. We need a lot of time. Maybe I have to discuss a lot of other things. So we're going to take start this one, and we have to start with the skills of micro teaching. What are the skills? Introduction skills, skill of probing questions, skill of explanation, skill of stimulus variation, skill of blackboard writing, and skill of achieving closure. So let's take a start that what is introduction skill? A close and harmonious relationship in which the people or group concerned understand each other's feelings or idea and communicate well. So introduction is pretty important, that once you are standing inside the classroom or in front of the group, you need to introduce yourself and you need to take the introduction from the classroom. So it would make it more familiar for both of you to each other. And skills of probing questions. Probing questions are those which help the students to think in depth about the various aspects of the problem. Like I just throw the one question front of you and you start thinking about it, you getting involved with me. For example, I'm just speaking, and I would not be able to get involved you at that time until I ask the question. So this is the one of the best thing, that skill of probing questions. By asking such questions again, the teacher makes the student more thoughtful. Once a teacher suddenly throw the question related to the topic, whatever he is teaching at that time, students start thinking quickly. So they try to link themselves with the topic. So they can have in their mind the teacher can ask the question anytime. And this skill enable the students to understand the subject deeply. That is one very important. The next one is explanation, skill of explanation. It involves the ability of teachers to describe logically how, why, and what of concept. Because if you are going to explain and you're asking the question to the student, please explain. So he start how it developed and why it developed and what was the concept of that one. So this is explanation skill which need to develop for the teacher as well and for the student as well. The next one is a skill of stimulus variation, and this is actually called skill of achieving closure. And you can go with the questions and A statement by teacher related to the consolidation of the major points covered during the lesson. Opportunities provided by the teacher to the students for linking the present knowledge with the past knowledge. You have to link, I mean, before start of the new topic, you have to give them an idea about the past topics so they can link their information between past and present. It can provide opportunity, the teachers to the students for applying the knowledge gained during the lesson to the new situations. And skill of blackboard writing, definitely students need to understand, and if you throw them the question and ask them come and solve on the blackboard, and the one of the student return back and face the class, at that time might possible in start he can have a little shyness, but again and again, someone is coming and standing in front of the whiteboard or blackboard and they're writing over there, they can get the confidence to speak, to communicate, and to understand. So all these skills are really important. Establishing understanding with the learners, linking with past experience, link between introduction and main parts, use of appropriate devices, techniques like questioning, examples, all these techniques you are already using. So I'm not going in depth to discuss all these things because this is common practices for the teacher. Deep thinking, more thoughtful, deep understanding. Deep thinking, how it comes, the deep thinking with the questions, popping up the questions, deep thinking develop for the students, more thoughtful once you're throwing the questions and you are linking your topic with the past topic and present topic at that time, is more thoughtful and deep understanding. If you are engaging your student inside the classroom, for sure it can develop the deep understanding related to the topic. So precautions was a skill of explaining. You can go with in a simple language, should not be given the shape of an advice. Not all the time the students like the advice. So you have to go with a simple language. Do not use for the very difficult words or sentences in your discussion. Should be in the sequence. You have to follow the sequence from the start to end. Everything should be in the sequence and should be according to the age, experience, and mental level of the students. You have to continue your studies according to the students, not your level. Sometimes a good teacher represent the personality that students feel that teacher is dealing with us as per our capacity. For example, you are PhD and in front of you there is a student for the high school level, for sure he is not equal to you. So you need to make yourself down, or according to the, you need to change your behavior or attitude or the knowledge level according to the student. Teacher movement, teacher gesture, change in voice, focusing, change in the inflection pattern, pausing, students' physical participation, all these points are really important, especially teacher movement. If teacher, for example, you have 60 students classroom and teacher is standing on front only and he's not moving, there should be some back benches. They are not focusing on the lecture at that time. So teacher need to move all over the classroom to keep focus that every student is involved. So teacher gestures is also important. There are multiple type of gestures, the behavior, the facial impressions, facing to the students, or once you're returning back to the blackboard or whiteboard at that time, that how you manage it. This gesture is also important for the teacher. Change in the voice, higher pitch or lower pitch, that can give you an idea, and that can give the idea for the students as well, that what is going on, and where they need to focus more, and what is the idea that how a teacher can deliver there, all the related things. So sometimes you need higher voice, especially once you have a lot of students inside the classroom. You need, might possible, you need the mic system at that time. Otherwise, if there is no mic system, you need to manage yourself. And focusing, I told you earlier that you need to focus according to the student behavior. Change in the interaction pattern, and pausing is also important, that once you are continuously speaking and you're not pausing yourself for few seconds or 1 minute, at that time it means might possible there the interaction of the students can be dissolved. Students physical participation, there is a research available that once a student is sitting inside the classroom, if teacher do not try to bring them their attention inside the classroom, then might possible student physically participated over there, but mentally that is not available over there. But sometimes some students are not willing to come inside the classrooms. So their physical participation is really important. Once they are inside the classroom, the teacher would be able to deliver some of the knowledge to them. So major points conclusion: knowledge linking, apply knowledge on current situations. So these are also skills that you are discussing the knowledge according to the current situation and scenario. Here, one of the best slide, I like it more for the micro teaching. This is 30 minutes complete cycle for teaching. Number one, you have to go with the plan, then teach for 5 minutes, and then take the feedback for 5 minutes, and then take 10 minutes to replan, and then again 5 minutes reteach, and again re-feedback for 5 minutes. This is a complete cycle of micro teaching, which I told you earlier in the last video we have seen over there, that planning, teaching, feedback, these three elements need to repeat it again and again, total 6. And 30-minute lectures, you're not going to deliver all the time. You need to plan, then you have to teach for 5 minutes only, then next 5 minutes you have to take the feedback. How you could take the feedback, you can throw some of the questions and you will get the idea that students are linking themselves with you or not. And then according to their feedback, you have to replan. For example, that there is not positive feedback from the students, so you have to change of plan, a replan according to the student situations, and then go ahead with the reteach, and then again re-feedback. That's all, the circle will continue until the complete lesson. Now that comes in our mind, that how can micro teaching make you a better teacher? We have discussed a lot of things, that what is micro teaching and what are the skills, and now we have to go with that one, that how can it improve it more. Micro teaching is just one way that teachers can receive immediate feedback on the teaching skills and styles. And micro teaching involves teaching a short lesson or piece of knowledge to a group of peers, or to the students. The subject of micro teaching can be varied. It may be tailored to your prospective audience or on the subject you personally have a passion for. Whatever you choose to teach, it should be something you feel confident in putting across. I mean, whatever you are going to choose, you should be confident, because if you are prepared well, you can go well. Prepare, plan interaction, and keep control, and in the end, mind the clock. What is preparation? Planning your micro teaching using lesson planning skills you already have, and it will make it easy to define the objective, resources required, and afterwards. The success of your lesson is the lesson planning and the preparation. What is plan interaction? That is, normally we are all more used to being in front of a camera than ever before. The reason behind pandemic, because this will bring us in front of the camera and e-learning and distance learning, everything. But whether you are presenting your micro teach live or recording it for the own or others review it, it's important to build a possibility of engagement into your lesson. That it depends, you are live at in live lectures, there is a different technique to deal with the students. But for example, you are recording your lecture and then you're going to upload, that would have the different technique. But keep control, keeping the interest of your audience is essential. If your students are not having the interest in your topic, it means they can move towards many other things, because you are online, especially during the pandemic, that almost 100% education for last couple of years, we faced that everything was online. And in online interactions, you need to make it more interesting, otherwise students can redirect to many other things. The last one is mind the control a clock. With such a small time frame, make sure you are highlighting the most relevant and interesting points to captivate your audience. Leave time for questions or a summary if you're recording your lesson or something like that. If you're recording, you have to go for the summary in the end, so anyone who joined the late, they can understand it. But if you're live, you have to give a chance to the students for the questions. So let's take a start with micro teaching lesson plan, how you can plan it. We have very interesting video with you here, and I hope you like it.
So as you can see on the screen, we have the background information that I mentioned before. We have the course name, that in my case I selected English Conversation. Next, we have the English level of our students, that is intermediate level. And next to that, we have the time, that is 20 minutes. Then we have the description of, or the context that we are going to work. And in my case, the context is summarizing. It says that we have 20 students of a private school, that they are studying 8th grade, and they have intermediate level. Therefore, they are be able to have fluent conversations without too much problems. Then we have the most important part of the lesson plan, because this is the way, like a teacher, we have to follow during the lesson plan. We have the objectives, that it says at the end of the lesson, the students should have, and the letter A, says extended their vocabulary. Letter B, practice extracting specific info or information from the listening and reading text. And letter C says focused on the fluency and accuracy in speaking. Knowing that important part of our lesson plan, let's start with activities. And the first one is the writing activity, that is divided in three sections, that is time, activity, and resources implemented. The time used was 5 minutes for this activity. And about the activity, it's an activity where the students have the opportunity to think freely and making questions like, what if everyone in the world knew what you were thinking? Or like, what if your pet dog could talk? But maybe you're wondering, what is the purpose of this activity? And well, here's the thing. Writing freely, the students are more motivated because they are doing what they want. This writing exercise is what Julia Cameron, author of The Artist's Way, calls morning page. While the student is motivated, he is using the vocabulary, grammar, structures, the different tense of the verb, and everything about that. And then the teacher can check it and correct it if it's needed. And the resources implemented for this writing activity were paper, pen, and box. So next we have the speaking activity, followed by the reading activity. The teacher in this activity will proceed to make small groups of 4 students. Then he will write a question on the whiteboard related to the previous activity. For example, what if dinosaurs were still alive? Where this question will become a topic of discussion. The teacher will give the groups a minute to think and talk among themselves about possible events, if this will be possible. The duration of this activity is 5 minutes, and the resources implemented was whiteboard and the marker. And why I selected.
So you can see the speaking activity is really important for lesson planning, that because a writing activity, the teacher will proceed to make small groups. How you can make it this activity, you can prepare the small groups of 4 students or 5 students or 3 students, whatever the student want. You can add them, you can ask them to speak about the topic, so they have the chance of speaking in front of the student and the teacher whatever they want to speak about the topic. So this will make them more engaging, and this activity is more interesting for the students because they love to enjoy that one and discussing with each other.
This activity, well, when a student works with a partner, he feels more confident. That's why working with a partner or small groups first gives them an opportunity to develop and practice the necessary vocabulary to speak confidently in a large forum. And the purpose of this activity is to practice the condition structures, also the vocabulary and fluency. Then we have the listening activity. In this activity, the teacher will give to the students a worksheet with some questions about 2 minutes out of 5 named a day at school. Then the teacher will play the audio and the students have to listen it, because after that they have to answer the given worksheet by the teacher. And the purpose of this activity is to know how much vocabulary the students know and how developed do they have the speaking skill. And the resources implemented for this listening activity is worksheet and in the
This is another interesting activity, that is listening activity. You can show them or you can make them listen a 2 minute or 3 minute audio file, and then you can ask them some questions worksheet and they can answer on that one. So this can improve their listening capability as well with the speaking.
audio file. Then we have the last activity, that is reading activity. the duration of this activity is 5 minutes. And in this case, it's about to practice the reading skills and the analysis applied in it. The teacher will give to the learners a worksheet with the 10 parts of a story called the Alien Story, in which a student must read each part, and then they have to put it in the right order. This activity is focused on the vocabulary, and the resources implemented for this activity is worksheet and pencil.
So all these activities discussed in this video, I mean, like these were important, that speaking and then listening and the reading, all these can engage the students with you inside the classroom, and they can produce better results. Before like continue to next, I would like to request everyone that please rename your names in the sessions, whatever you put it the name in front of your name, just please add your employee ID, so which can help us to find out your name in the registration list and issue the certificate, because by name sometimes you are not adding the complete name, and we could not get the exact name or identification in the registration list. I'm going to repeat it again, that to receive the certificate, registration is mandatory, and registration and attendance both are mandatory. If you attended this session but you didn't get registered, it means you will not receive the certificate. If you get registered but you didn't attend the session, it means you will not receive the certificate. So to receive the certification, that is mandatory, that you have to get registered and then you have to attend the session as well. So please rename it with your employee ID. That would help us to find you exactly the employee over there. Before starting next, that okay, we are discussing about the micro teaching. So do remember these 4 P's: planning, presentation, practice, and production. What that is, 4 P's are planning, presentation, practice, and production. For example, you have 50-minute class or lecture. How you can divide it? 50-minute lecture can be divided into 3 portions. Like 10 minutes you have to present, and then 30 minutes you have to practice for it, and then again 10 minutes, that is a production time, and you can have the best lecture delivery inside the classroom if you follow all these 4 P's. So what real-time examples we can take it? Look at that.
Welcome to TATP. In this 2.5-day program, you, along with TAs from around the university, will get real-time, hands-on teaching experience through micro-teaching sessions. A micro-teach is a 10-minute mini lesson in your discipline.
This is what I already discussed with you, that initially for the micro teaching, you have to go with the small groups, and these groups, 4 or 5 or 6 people, or 6 to 10 people, not more than 10 persons can be in one group. And these participants can be your colleagues or supervisor, who can listen you and give you an honest feedback, and in the like presence of that feedback, you can reanalyze and re-deliver the lecture. Micro teaching sessions take place in small groups of about 5 to 6 participants. Who gonna participate? Number one is, you can see on the top there is a heading, who. Microsoft sessions can take 5 to 10, 5 to 6 participants.
TATP instructors facilitate these small group sessions, and our goal is to create a supportive and friendly teaching environment. In order to successfully finish the program, you must complete both Microteaching sessions. Choose academic topics for your microteaching lessons. The content of the two lessons can be related or unrelated. That's up to you. But please do not present the exact same lesson twice. Assume your audience is interdisciplinary and may not be familiar with the graduate level research in your field.
So 10 minutes lesson ensures that your lesson are no longer than 10 minutes because it will increase more than 10 minutes. It will make the boring activities and people or participants can redirect.
After your microteach, you will receive written and verbal feedback from your group members.
So equipment, every room where micro teaching sessions take place has internet access, a computer, projector, sound system, whiteboard, and markers. All these equipment should be inside the classroom where you're going to take the micro teaching session.
If you need other instructional aids, be sure to let your TATP instructors know ahead of time. If you intend to use PowerPoint, you can bring your presentation on a flash drive or on a laptop.
So remember to bring a flash drive, your lesson plan with all the presentation. For example, you are going to deliver a PowerPoint presentation that should be available on your flash drive.
Microteaching may sound intimidating at first, but participants have consistently rated the microteaching sessions as the most useful component of TATP. Microteaching is a great opportunity to try out your teaching skills and techniques with a small group of your peers and receive helpful, constructive feedback. Have fun and happy teaching!
Now, for sure, after a pandemic, we cannot avoid online teaching. From last couple of years, we are using the online platform. Honestly, I believe that if e-learning or distance learning doesn't exist, and after that pandemic, we can go in the stone age. Because without that technology, the combination of the internet and computer, they can make our generations alive, and especially for the educations, anything can survive without connectivity. But education means if you are during the pandemic where you cannot stay together, you cannot step outside from your home, at that time only computer and internet give us a chance to be connected with each other. So what are the online micro teaching tips? Let's have a look. A clear lesson plan, because for online teachings the students are not in front of you, so a clear lesson plan is really important. Planning your micro teaching that is, have a clear an idea of your aim and objectives of what you want your learners to achieve within the 15-minute lesson. The plan should be no more than 2 pages with a clear aim, 1 to 2 objectives, and these objectives can be like introduction, middle section, or activity and summary. You can include all these in this one. It is key to allow for questions from group members who will be naturally curious about your subject. Try not to overcomplicate your plan and only involve subject content that you feel confident of the deliverance. So only choose the content that you have a complete confidence that they can be delivered easily. So initial assessment, you can have to go with the initial assessment with that one. Ask your learners if they have any prior knowledge of your subject. You may be surprised about your learners' previous experience and knowledge base. This is also really important to ask them that do you have any experience or knowledge about the topic we are going to study. So it will give you a chance to prepare yourself that the students sitting in front of you, they are familiar, and you can feed them with the advanced knowledge, or you have to go with the scratch. And if a group member is experienced within your chosen subject, why not involve them within a demonstration So you can involve them in the demonstrations. So the students who are not capable to understand that subjects, or those who do not have an experience, they can learn by their experience. The delegation is everyone is supportive of each other on the micro teaching day. Why not ask other candidates to assist you with the setup of your micro teaching? And you could ask other delegates to help you to rearrange the classroom layout to suit your micro teaching, or even give out your handouts or resources. They can provide you some kind of resources at work. By delegating responsibilities will help you to relax and get to know your fellow learners better. The next one is observe, adopt, and adapt. As a teacher and training, you will at some point be observing your learners or colleagues, and try to be both positive and constructive with your feedback, and think about how you provide feedback effectively. Your feedback does matter at that time. The micro teaching is an excellent opportunity to see different teaching delivery styles and techniques. By using micro teaching, you can deliver in different styles and techniques as well. If you see an interesting starter, activity, or resource, make note. You can use this within your own future practice. Really important. If you are observing something, keep written in your notebooks, and you can use the type of experiences or observations in coming future lectures as well. Keep it simple. If you are using the PowerPoint, do not make it very complex that can redirect or redrive the students from the actual topic. So keep it very simple, which can be easy to understand. Try not to contain too much information, because sometimes I have seen some of the presentations that containing too many information on the presentation, because only headings and one or two line definition is more than enough, and rest you have to speak and discuss with them. So more simple, more understandable. Video activity is a powerful tool to engage the students. Why? That video are engaging, interactive, and can help learners understand your teaching practice. A key tip here is to keep them short and interactive. Do not put them 30 minutes video or something like that. It should be 1 or 2 minutes or 3 minutes video maximum over there. And why not include questions for the learners to complete during the videos? Once the video is completed, you have to ask the question related to the video, so your audience can be more intact, and they can have more knowledge related to the topic. Because once the students have in their mind that my teacher can ask the question by end of any of the activity, so he need to be attentive during the lecture. Be in control. More often than not, any planned activity will last longer than expected. Sometimes what happens, like you have planned for 30-minute lectures, but if you are not in control of your information delivery, at that time what happens, like 30 minutes can last for 50 minutes or 55 minutes. At that time, there is a collision, mean like there is a problem, especially inside the school or a university, because after you, there is another teacher is waiting for their class. So you have to be in control with your knowledge. Remember that you are in control, and dictate the timings of the lesson, because if you're not going to dictate the timing of the lesson, it will not help you to deliver the lesson on time. Very important. Welcome distance learners. Normally I heard earlier, like before pandemic, that distance learning is not good, because everyone think, even the parents think, that distance learning doesn't give you um, a bunch of knowledge or something like that, because face-to-face learning is a traditional way, and it can give you more idea about the teaching and learning as well. But after pandemic, this perception has been changed, The distance learning can also be the same similar benefits like the face-to-face learning. So in future we can I can see being a e-learning professional that in future is nothing without e-learning. We can say the blended learning. There are a lot of benefits for the face-to-face learning, but there are too many benefits for the e-learning and distance learning as well. So in coming days, I don't think so e-learning is going to be obsolete. It is going to be more in. So blended learning can be the powerful tool in future. Questions are the key. Questions are very important. A good hallmark of any teacher or trainer is the ability to ask questions. Whether open or nominated, the micro teaching is an opportunity to hone your questioning skills. So it can increase your questioning skills. More you ask, more you learn, even for the teacher and for the student as well. So at the end, you have a complete control to close the lesson, that how you have to close the lesson in micro teaching. It gives you an idea that it should come full circle with a 2-minute warning from the assessor. At this stage, you should review your aim and objectives. And for sure, perhaps here ask questions to group members, or conduct a lesson evaluation quiz, or ask the group members questions on the subject you have just delivered. So the lesson closure is really important. That one. The last one, but not the least one, that is practice, practice, practice. Practice makes a man perfect. If you have more practice, you can have more knowledge and more confidence to deliver. For anyone who is new to presenting, it is essential to practice your micro teaching in your own time. Not only inside the classroom, you have to practice by yourself. I told you the story of a guy, a Syrian guy. So you have to prepare your micro teaching at your home. You just need to switch on your camera. You can put your mobile and you can record your session and you can review them and you can understand that one. For example, if no one is available for you, why not record your micro teaching? And you can record in 2 ways. I told you that earlier. You can go with the audio recording. That could be a best solution. But if you want to see you perfect, because the appearance of the teacher and movement of the teacher and gesture also plays a vital role to deliver a good lecture, because students are not only following your voice, they are following your body, they are following your all the actions. So you have to be make it perfect yourself. So video recording is the best way. Just record yourself. Might possible initially is pathetic. It's not easy to stand in front of the camera day one, but if you want to be a good teacher, or if you want to be a good trainer, you have to go with the practice and you have a stamina to stand in front of the camera. In the last, the influence of a good teacher can never be erased. That's all that still a good teacher can have the impact, and that can never be erased. You can say that from my side, by end of the day, by end of the sessions, that better than 1,000 days of digital diligent study is one day with a great teacher is better than that one. And I have some words for you being a teacher, because all the teachers are listening for me, that your heart is slightly larger than the average human heart. But that's because you are a teacher, because teachers should have a larger heart than a normal person. And for sure, teachers can change lives with the right mix of chalk and challenges. That's why teaching is the greatest act of optimism. Thanks for joining the session. It was a great time with you guys. And now, before signing off, I gonna turn on the mic for all you guys. If you have any question, you can ask me. And there is, hold on a moment. Let me stop.